So this upcoming week, the Vikings have officially announced that they are not going to be starting Josh Dobbs, and instead they're going to be going with Nick Mullens. Now, Nick Mullens is an interesting change for the Minnesota Vikings here. Obviously, after last week, they kind of got done with Josh Dobbs after they beat the Raiders 3-0. And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of like on the fence about how I felt about playing Josh Dobbs. I felt like at the same time, I felt we could beat him. I felt like he might be a little bit competition because of the fact that, he can be sneaky good. Okay, it's very possible he can be sneaky good. But now they're going with Nick Mullens. So this is a completely different change. Like, this is going to be an interesting game. I'll say it like that. So, Nick Mullens is 28 years old. He's actually almost 29 years old. If you don't know who he is, he's from Southern Miss, and he has been a career backup. That's pretty much what he has been. He joined the 49ers when he came out of college. He went 3-5 with them. They thought at first that he could be their guy. He ended up not being their guy as he only played 8 games, and he had 2,200 yards, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The following year, he only went ahead and played 1 game, started 0 of them. The following year after that, they put him back at the quarterback position. He played 10 games. He started 8 of them. He went 2-6. 2,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. And then the following year, he went to Cleveland, which you already know how that works. You go to Cleveland, you're a quarterback, you're a dumpster fire. 0-1, and then, of course, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, and 147 yards. Preceding that, he went to Minnesota for 2 years, obviously including this year, and he's never started the game since. Now, of course, he will be starting a game Sunday versus us, and to be honest, this is going to be a trap game, and we're going to have to be very, very smart with how we go about this game, especially with the fact that, again, like I said before, it's as strictly as can be a trap game. We're going against a team who, just put up 3 points versus the Las Vegas Raiders, and they couldn't score into the final minutes of the game. So this game actually now kind of makes me a little nervous just because of how much of a trap game it actually is. Because at this point, especially with them going Nick Mullens, I think Josh Dobbs has a better chance of winning than Nick Mullens. So you could even make the argument that they're trying to tank at this point. Which, to be honest, I don't really blame them. Because Jay Jettis, or Justin Jefferson, his Twitter handle is Jay Jettis, what we call him Jay Jettis. But Justin Jefferson, it looks like he's going to play for this game. Last week, he played for like a quarter, and then food out the rest of the game. This game, it looks like he will be playing, which is good for Nick Mullens, but Nick Mullens is just not good in general. So we're gonna go into this game, and we gotta keep this mindset that we can't be cocky, we can't be arrogant, we can't think that this is going to be a cakewalk, because at the end of the day, this game could go, completely sour very quick if we're not careful, especially with the fact, again, that we're going against a trap game quarterback here. Now, I will say overall-wise, we should be fine, and as long as Jake Browning can continue his success, we'll be okay. Obviously, listen, Jake Browning, I'm not worried at all versus their defense. Their defense is really not good at all. I mean, I know last week they did a number on the Las Vegas Raiders, but we also have to remember that was the Las Vegas Raiders, and that was not the 2007 Patriots here, okay? That was the Las Vegas Raiders. Going down this list here, just take a more look at this quarterback. We know that he is a pocket passer. He's not a mobile quarterback. He can actually move, but he is mainly just a pocket passer. So the real goal here is going to be keep him in the pocket, which shouldn't be hard to do. I'm going to go ahead and put this in here real fast because it's important. Their right tackle, Brian O'Neill, actually suffered a very bad injury last week versus the Raiders. This obviously came in the second quarter. And yeah, it looks like he is going to be out for most likely the season. As it says right here, now it appears like his 2023 season might end early. He suffered a very bad leg injury. So they're not going to be they're going to be without the right tackle in this game. Also, a little side note, the other guys that they might have hurt is going to be Ed Ingram. Ed Ingram was actually on the injury report last week. So last week, going to last week's game, he was questionable. He was a limited participant in practice, a couple times, and then obviously he was questionable. He ended up playing, but yes, that's another guy who they're not potentially not going to have going into this game. They also got their backup running back who had a concussion. So they have a lot of injuries that definitely are going to hinder them a lot in this game. So I just want to cut in here real fast. Can I talk about injuries later in the video? And I say a statement like the offensive line doesn't have much injuries. But I just wanted to fact check myself. And surprisingly enough, no, they actually do have some injuries on the offensive line. Right tackle especially being out, and now right guard who's also injured. Ed Ingram probably plays against us, but he still has a hip injury, so he's not going to be 100%. It's going to be the same exact scenario as last week versus the Colts. You literally, just like Braden Smith being out, you're going to pressure that right-hand side, overload that right-hand side, and you're going to put a lot of pressure on Nick Mullens. So this is going to be a huge, impact in this game. So enjoy the rest of the video, guys. And it's going to be kind of collapse the pocket around him. Now, there's not too many injuries they have on this offensive line that makes me think, like last week, for example, they had no Braden Smith, so they had to go with Blake Freeman, a 4th-round draft pick, which obviously helped us out, to kind of balance out their team to, get the edge off the right-hand side. Now, of course, Blake Freeman did get a false start last week, but he also gave up so many pressures to us with our defensive line. So this week we don't really have that advantage when it comes to the Vikings. But still, again, like I said, it's really going to come down to a couple of things. First off, we're going to have to make sure when the ball is turned over, which I'll be honest with you, I'm almost guaranteeing at this point, we're going to get maybe 1 or 2 turnovers. But I will say when we do, we have to capitalize on everything, right? Again, just because we're going in this game against a quarterback who isn't really good, and I kind of use that term, I don't try to use that term too much because, again, like I said, the more you trash an opponent, the more a trap game it becomes, and the more chances of a opponent go out there and putting up good yardage and, playing good. But I think Nick Mullens might be the counter to that point because, yeah, he is actually that trash. So I think, again, like you said, going into this game, it's going to be the same principle it always is, which, of course, is just put pressure on them. Do not let them sit back there. Do not let Nick Mullens pick you apart. And the reason why I say this is because, we played C.J. Beathard, last week pretty much. And actually, I just realized they have 2 guys on the offensive lineman who are hurt. So, hang on. So, the right tackle, Brian O'Neill. Okay. The website just kind of froze on me. But Brian O'Neill and Ed Ingram here, both of those guys, what's the injury status on both of these guys? 123, which is obviously January 20 of 23. He was on IR, but I don't know if he's still on IR or what. Team history, okay. I don't know why my computer's so slow right now, but alright, so it looks like they do have some, maybe not some critical injuries, but definitely some guys hurt on the offensive line, which is going to be promising for us, let's be honest. We'll see how this does impact this game, especially when it comes to getting after Nick Mullens. Now, again, like I said, we put pressure on Nick Mullens, things are going to, start to get really good. Jay Jadis, again, he should be playing for this upcoming game, so even though it says right here that he's red, he should be playing. Jalen Naylor should also be playing. Alexander Madison, we'll see his status going into this game. And then again, like I said, 2 offensive linemen hurt. That's definitely going to be a hinder for them. I'll be interested to see the final injury status of that. We're going to find out tomorrow, some injuries for the week and who's healthy, who's injured, who's going to play, and who's not going to play. But again, like I said, we went against C.J. Beathard, and you remember that game versus the Jags. The last drive of the game, he went right down the field on us, kicked a field goal. They obviously, in overtime, drove the length of the field on us. So even though we're playing a backup here, does not mean anything. You can't look at it and think, technically, Josh Dobbs was a backup. This is a 3rd string. But even if you're playing that, you can't go into this game thinking that this is an easy cakewalk. This is just a walk in the park here. You can't, because you're going to lose this type of game if you do that, right? So we got to have to look in this game exactly like we look in any other game. It's going to be a tough game against a tough team, and we're going to have to play all full quarters. So, again, like I said, it's definitely going to be a little nice to go against Nick Mullens, other than going against, a real quarterback. But hey, man, they still got TJ Hawkinson. They still got Jordan Addison. They still got KJ Osborne. These are guys that can get open, will get open, and will make plays down the field. They also still have Josh Oliver for Baltimore. So tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, but I think this should even put us more ease going into this game that we're going to win this game. And again, like I said, you win this game, you stack up these wins, you got two more you got to get done. And those two more, obviously, or three more, are Steelers, Chiefs, and Browns. So I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.